We're joined now by the chairman of the National Tertiary Health Institution Standards Committee, Professor Philip Abiodun. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Really, first, paint a picture of what the practice has been in the organ donation, organ transplantation market in Nigeria. And do you see any role that poverty plays in all of this? Because sometimes it looks like the donor is poor and the donee is well off.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
What happens in this country is not new. It happens in other countries where there are no standards and no regulations, no guidelines. There's no argument about it that poverty could play a role. And that is part of our job in educating the people. Poverty could play a role in the sense that a rich man can induce a poor man and say, look, I give you this and this amount, you can give me this and that. That is where poverty plays a role. Poverty can play a role where you kidnap people, kill them, remove the organs, go and sell. That again can be due to poverty. So you can harass people, you can threaten people, you can coerce people, you can induce people to donate the organs without they are knowing what they are going into. When you kill somebody anyway, you cannot say, when you kidnap, it's possible that we say, oh, they paid, they've done this, they've done that, they cannot find the body, or an organ has been removed. We used to think a lot that it was for rituals. Right. We are not sure whether all this is actually for rituals. Whether some people made it their business to pay some people to go and collect organs. When accidents do occur, we have had that even in some countries. The accident occurs before people come, they remove some organs. So that's why I said it's not only here in this country.
Yes.
And so we want to reduce it by enlightening the people who can be a donor, who can be a recipient, who can carry out these skills, who can carry out these activities, who is qualified to be a donor. What must a donor know before he gives consent? We want to tell him that he too can be involved in criminal act by agreeing to donate, giving consent, on the other hand, taking money for it. You are not allowed to sell your organ. So no commercialization, no merchandise, all this one. It's not. So that is part of our job, to enlighten the people.
Great. Some will say that there's an acute shortage of voluntary donation in the country. I want you to confirm if that is correct. And does this gap then not fuel the black market for organ harvesting and trafficking? And what are you doing to ensure that this gap is closed when, on the one hand, people need these donors to live? On the other hand, nobody is voluntarily giving these organs.
You are quite correct. Everywhere in the world, there's a gap between donor and recipients.
Yes.
But this is part of our job, to enlighten people. Where such a gap exists, people capitalize on it. They now say, we supply organs, we'll do this, we'll do that, just to fill up that gap. You get my point?
Yes.
And that is part of our job, to enlighten people, to encourage people to donate, whether when you are alive, donate when you are dead. That is, there are organs you can give and still live. It is our job to enlighten the people, to say, prolong life of somebody.
Right.
But don't make money out of it. Tell you what can happen to you if you donate. Your life must not be shortened due to that donation.
So all of these form part of the guidelines?
This is all contained here, and this is all part of
guidelines. Yes.
We have.
What are the specifics? Of this. I mean, how will these guidelines actually address the peculiar challenges in the?
Look, this guideline contains about 7 chapters.
Wow.
And the chapter 1 is ethical guidelines for organ donation and transplantation. The general principles and philosophy, ethical guidelines and standards of practice for the hospitals involved in transplant surgery, advisory on transplant procedure, recommended skill sets, radiological and laboratory requirements for transplant service, criteria for screening, donation and handling of human organs of individuals and facilities, post-donation transplantation, procedure guide and follow-up care. That is, after you've done transplantation, how do we take care of the person from whom you remove organ?
Right.
What must you also do? You have received it. What drugs, what care must you need? But that person who donated also has some things we have to take care of.
All right, Professor.
So it's quite a lot of...
It contains establishment of organ bank.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us more about that, the organ bank. Do we have organ banks in
We
Nigeria
don't have
presently?
at the moment.
Okay.
Organ bank, we're registry first. That is mapping out, know who is doing what and what and what and who is not doing it. So we know where to intervene,
Right.
give them the criteria, what they have to be able to say. At the moment, we don't know those who are even doing. We only read in papers.
Wow.
I read that there are some people we know are doing, but how are they doing? What are the guidelines?
That's frightening.
How many have they done?
Professor, that's frightening. But beyond, creating this awareness for the receiver and the donor, how about the health practitioners themselves, the people who carry out, this transplant?
This is part of what is contained here. Who can carry it out? What is your qualification? How many years have you qualified? Where did you train to do this? How many have you done? Where have you done them?
What about the protocol of receiving? I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but we're just trying to pack a lot and understand this after the frightening picture painted. We've seen in other climes, there's some sort of list, that must check and where this organ is coming from. What's the protocol of receiving organs in Nigeria at the moment in the medical facilities?
There is no standard protocol, and that is part of what we are developing here.
Right.
What must an institution have to even say they are starting? Do they have a committee that screens the donor and screens the recipient, that says, okay, we have qualified doctors, and what is the infrastructure you have? What is the pharmacy like? What is the nursing care like? What is all these ones we are going to see. So anybody who is going to carry out heart transplantation after the mapping must submit all this. We have a protocol that we send, then we go and look at the place and give the hospital, the facility, a license, and give the person who is allowed to do it a license. And this will be reviewed after some few years.
Right. Well, it's scary because initially you painted this picture and it looks like there is a nexus between the rising cases of kidnapping, abductions, and what have you that we're seeing now, even the so-called ritual killings. And I'm wondering, when you now, mainstream this practice of organ donation and transplantation, what are the chances that we will not even see a further spike in this, untoward, traits, practice in the society?
This job
what will be the oversight, mechanism?
This job is for all of us.
Right.
See something, say something. You've seen something, you report. We are not doing this job alone. We are working with the Justice Department, the police, NAPTIP, religious bodies, everybody. So that anybody, there's punishment. At the moment, for all these things, it's about 7 years imprisonment, not less than, and not less than 5 million if you are caught.
Is that stiff enough?
Well, still.
That's what I'm saying. Now you see that in your projection just now, you saw a member of the House of Reps, chairman of the Ethics Human Rights Committee with us. And he said anything we want, they will partner with us. So where we feel it's not enough, we are going to discuss with them. We're going to
because it has to be really heavy.
In terms of, it's a job for all of us.
To serve as a deterrent, yes.
So
vigilance is very important on the side.
That's why you see something, you say something.
Right.
So all of us must do it together. It's not just the committee alone.
Thank you very much. And we do wish your committee the best of luck, because this concerns everybody. See something, say something, Nigerians.
That's it.
Chairman, National Tertiary Health Institution Standards Committee, Professor Philip Abiodun.
Olaile.
Olaile. Thank you so much.
Abiodun.
Thank you so
Right.
much.